Hello, everybody. It is 3:23 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday, December 28th, 2016. Welcome into the Earthquake 3D live stream. And guys, we've got a pretty significant situation developing out right now at the California-Nevada border. In case you missed it, in case you didn't hear, we have a swarm of 4s, 5s, going up to multiple 5.7. Now a 5.3 has just struck, and the 5.3 that just struck has struck at Mammoth Mountain on the California side of the border. So, on top of the 5.7s that just struck a few minutes ago, now we have a 5.3 showing up. Again, this is significant in size, guys. And I don't know what to make of this. I think that maybe we need to get a copy of Google Earth open for you guys to see where these earthquakes are occurring. They just moved the earthquake location from Mammoth Mountain on the side of California over to the Nevada side. That was just adjusted as I jumped on. When I show you where the earthquake struck, I think you're going to find this very, very interesting. Okay, so let's get the smaller earthquakes off the list and just look at our larger ones. And there we go. So we'll take the 5.7 coordinates. We'll try and get those from the USGS. And we will put these suckers in on Google Earth and go show you what's there. Now, California residents, you probably already know about the Mammoth Mountain location. You may have heard of it before. You may even know what the geologic features are there. But I'm just going to back this out to show everybody where it is in relation in California. Okay, here's the United States, obviously. Okay, we're looking at it from space. And we will put the coordinates in from the USGS. And we will zoom in. And it's best you just get a picture for yourself of what's there. So, here we are. We're zooming in on the area. Obviously, it's a desert basin, but we are on the base of Aurora Crater, which is an old volcano, ancient volcano, quite frankly. There it is, Aurora Crater. It still has obsidian and lava flows visible around it, and then an unnamed younger volcanic butte. And you'll see this here. That's a cone at the center with a sill that formed on the sides, and this had to, when it flowed, it had to be a very chunky, thick, viscous lava, because look at the height elevation here. We go from 7,000 feet, or 6,900 feet, to 7,200 feet. So it's a 300-foot high lava flow that flowed out. You can see it here. Very, very impressive. So, our swarm of earthquakes is striking right around these volcanoes. Now, is it a sign of an eruption? No, at least not yet. But we do have to keep our eyes open for geothermal activity since it's on the flanks of Long Valley Caldera and Mono Lake Supervolcano. This is a supervolcano here. This is a Smithsonian marked location, so you don't have to take my word for it. Go ahead and pause this and read it. That dome is rising out. It's been rising for several hundred years, and it hasn't exploded in a very long time. It's about half the size of Yellowstone. So, this swarm, and it's significant in size, is breaking out here. Unfortunately, right across the mountain range, we have the Hawthorne Military Base, which is a storage location. These are bunkers that are storing different ammunitions. Now, we're not talking about an explosion here, guys. This is happening many, many miles below in the crust as we're talking now. So understand, as I'm talking, the largest earthquakes to strike the Intermountain California-Nevada region in years has now occurred. 2 5.7s, a 5.5, and a 5.3 so far. That's a lot of movement. And people in California are reporting feeling it. People in Reno are reporting feeling it. People around at Tahoe reporting feeling it. All around the area reporting feeling it. It's a large earthquake. This means pressure is going to go to the east by southeast. When we say southeast, this does include Southern California down near Salton Sea, near San Diego. Could get excited back up into the 4.0 range. And pressure going to the east could conserve itself entirely. Just as I'm talking right now, Salton Sea just got hit. 2.5. There you go. Pressure is transferring down to the east by southeast, and it's going to move over into the Midwest. We're going to see a noteworthy swarm return back in Oklahoma, Colorado. Fracking operations, you need to be on heightened alert that you could go up to see a size earthquake similar to what's striking currently out on the West Coast. It could go that large, or at least a significant swarm. Additionally, New Madrid seismic zone here in the Midwest. I live in St. Louis, right below where our line on the red arrow is. It's amazing. I actually live underneath that. But, guys, we need to be on watch in southern Missouri as well for the leftovers off what hits Oklahoma. This is going to go all the way over to the East Coast. There's no way out of it. Pressure is going to go along the edge of the craton, following our red arrows, which indicate the interior edge of the plate, and the interior edge of the plate as opposed to the deformed edge or the coastal plain. So the interior portion of the craton is a geological word for the interior portion of the plate, okay, that gets disturbed when there's large pressure placed on it from the west, and it pushes to the east. So right now, two things are going on. The reason this earthquake struck is because we were looking for large pressure to release in California over the past few days. We were looking for 5.7 to 5.8 to strike. And earlier today, and I dare say it was much larger than what they said, a possible 6.9 occurred out here off the coast. One station reporting 6.9, several other stations reporting upper 5, several stations reporting 4, several stations reporting 3. They went with the 4s and 3s, and they came out with 4.3. So understand, it's the largest earthquakes of the year to strike in the Intermountain California region. It certainly caught people off guard. And I guarantee you it's going to carry on for the next several hours going into tomorrow, and it'll be significant in size. These could be foreshocks to a larger coming earthquake. We talked about this last night. I'm going to show you something here, and I want you to really pay attention to what I'm about to show you. Look at the earthquakes that struck the West Coast over the past week. Now, pressure stopped at the Midwest. And I told you, at 10 p.m. last night, Central Time, 10 p.m., so at 8 p.m. West Coast time last night, I told you that pressure was trapped between Oklahoma and off the coast where our 4.3s are. And I said that it was releasing at Mammoth Mountain. Now, here we are, and Mammoth Mountain and all around Mammoth Mountain hit by the largest earthquakes in years at this location or anywhere across Nevada in Eastern California. Now, it's not just chance or luck. Something great is pushing on all this, and there it is. Something great was off the coast. They downgraded it by exponential points, guys. There was a larger earthquake off the coast, a 6.9 most likely. That's what one station reported. Now, it's the proverbial hundreds of miles out to sea, so nobody felt it. And since they gatekeep the information, no one reported it. That's the only explanation I can come up with. That being said, it would keep in line with the other 7s that were striking. And again, it's possible for a 7 to strike out there and not have people feel it hundreds of miles inland. So was it a 7, 6.9? Was it an upper 5 that struck? Maybe we should throw out the 6.9 and just go with the mid-range, those 4s and 5s. And if we add up the 4s and 5s that struck earlier today off the coast, then that totally makes sense with what just caused this activity in Central California. You follow me? If you're a long-time viewer, I hope you get what I'm saying. If you're new, you're probably just going to be like, what is he talking about? Not a problem, guys. I'll explain it later, okay? So, if you're just now tuning in, it looks like there's nearly 700 people in here at this point. Word's getting out that the largest earthquakes of the year have struck. Be aware, if you live in California, if you're in the area, you need to be on watch for a few things to happen right now. First of all, you have landslide potential. Landslide potential at anything above a 5.0. Secondly, you also have the potential for house damage. So go check the outsides of your house. If you got stone structure house, you've got outside a facade or a chimney, well, You may want to check on that when this shaking's done. First thing in the morning, get out there and check it. Don't push on it too hard. I'm telling you, this is the biggest earthquake in the past couple of years in this location, more than a couple of years, in several years' time. And anything above a mid-range 5 is certainly enough to cause damage in people's houses, cause chimneys to fall down. We saw a 4.5 take off chimneys and facades in Oklahoma this year. A 4.5. So here we are with a 5.7, multiple 5.7s, dare I even say 6.0. We can go with that station list, but I can tell you this, the station list is not going to be represented on the ultimate feed that we're looking at here. I should go look it up at this point. Let's go look up the station list, see if we have the station list listed. Let's go to the origin page, go on the magnitudes, see if we have details yet. Nope, they're still not making them public. Oh, man. Okay, how long? Look, 1,765 felt reports on the USGS website. Dare I say that is a felt earthquake. So, no station list provided. Okay, well, let's go over to the European agency and see if they have anything over on the seismologist page. Are we going to really keep this information hidden? Are we? I hope not. Let's go see. Sure are. They're keeping the magnitude information hidden, guys. Okay, let's go down some more. Let's go check a few of the others. Oh, brother, oh, brother. Okay. Oh, my kitty is meowing now. Okay, another small earthquake has just happened. Multiple smaller earthquakes. I'm not seeing anything larger reported yet. Let's go check and see if we have station magnitudes on here. Gate kept. Gatekeeping that information, man. USGS. Well, we can lay that at the feet of the USGS, guys. Okay, so we can't get the station information, so that's going to be all released, I suppose, at a later date. I hope they better release it. I want to see the hundreds of stations and see what the magnitudes are being reported. I want to see it, and I want to see it soon. As a scientist, they're tasked with reporting that information. There's no reason not to populate that information. The only reason they're not going to populate it is so that the public doesn't see something above 6. That's the only reason, guys. The only reason. There is no good scientific reason to not show it. It'd be like saying, there's a storm coming, but we can't tell you how strong the winds are. We can't show you all our wind stations. You're just going to have to trust us that it's, I mean, I don't get it. I wouldn't accept that in meteorology. We shouldn't accept that in seismology either, okay? We want to see the station information as soon as possible for review, so we can review it. Not just you. You're not just the only scientist in the world. You're getting paid to do this by the public. You need to give it to us, okay? All right, so if you're in California, the largest earthquakes, copper tropicals, I just saw it. I will be mounting my earthquake detector. I didn't get it up. Dang it, I need to. So if you didn't know, we issued a warning for California to be on watch for a 5.7 to 5.8 earthquake here along the coast. Earlier today, I dare say, a mid-range 5 did strike, and that they downgraded it by a magnitude and a half, as we said earlier. Now, understand that the largest earthquake in years has struck next to a series of volcanoes. Take a look at where the earthquake struck. Look at the volcanoes next to the earthquake. Obviously, these are craters. This is Aurora crater, and over here is the volcanic butte. I've shown this 20 or 30 times in the past few months. It's been struck over and over again by multiple different earthquakes, swarms, I would say swarms, nothing large. But just be aware, that's what's going on right now. This is significant. It means the Midwest is under the gun. It means Southern California is slightly under the gun. It means you're going to both be hit. Pressure transfers to the southeast and to the east. And it hits the weak spots. The weak spots are dormant volcanoes, and drill points where humans have punctured into the crust. So the oil wells, the gas wells. I heard Aliso Canyon blew again last night. At least they said that in chat. I don't know if that's true. But it would make sense if Aliso Canyon blew and then we see a large earthquake to the north. So there we go. We have so much activity going on here, guys. It just keeps striking. And I mean, there's so many different earthquakes have struck. Since the 5.7, we've had 5.5, 5.6, 5.3, 3s, so many different earthquakes. Take a look at it. So 5.7, 5.6, 5.3, and if we go down lower, you're going to see all the 4s. This is amazing. It's all happening at the same location, which I just showed you, Aurora Crater and the unnamed volcanic butte, rising about 300 feet off the desert floor with its impressive lava flow and ancient sill. With this amount of activity striking, I might have to tell you guys that we might have to elevate it from a 1% to a 5% chance that you might be looking at some kind of volcanic activity coming if it carries on with this size. If it carries on in the 5 range and you don't see it dying down, it means potential eruption. Hopefully, it'll die down. Right? We don't want to hope for an eruption. I'll keep it at that 1% right now. If it goes on, if we get through till tomorrow and there's more 5 striking, then you might want to raise your eyebrows at the volcanic location. But as it stands right now, the reason the pressure is releasing at this volcano or these volcanoes is not because it's going to erupt. It's a past spot where big eruptions occurred. There's fractures in the crust from the supervolcano, which makes it vulnerable to seismic pressure. Now, I see a lot of people are reporting another large earthquake that's just come in. Okay, so I understand you guys are going by different earthquake information. I'll go over and hit refresh on the seismologist page and just make sure that there's nothing else that's showing up. Okay, now again, some people are showing 5.6 in Nevada. I would understand that. Let's go check a different feed here really quick. Let's go check the USGS last day magnitude all. This is going to show us all our smaller earthquakes. The USGS feeds, I'm hitting refresh right now, are lagging about 5 to 10 minutes behind. I know it's crazy, right? So they're keeping their feeds on lag. They could have it real time, but they've put a deliberate delay on the USGS feed so that they can gatekeep the information off their website first. And so that it doesn't populate apps until after they get it notified on the USGS website. I know that's selfish. That seems a little selfish, doesn't it? So, again, you got to understand the USGS is doing this stuff on purpose, I believe. Here's the earthquake. So it's on their website, not on their feeds yet. You'll see it populate very soon, the 5.6. Oh, it just popped on. Hey, okay, there it is. There it is. So, okay, it just came on the feed right after the 2. Okay, so understand, large earthquakes are occurring. The reason they're occurring is because pressure developed off the coast. It's pushing to the east-southeast, and it's going to carry on to the east-southeast, which means Midwest, Southern California to the Midwest. It's a huge area. It's a huge area. And the oil pumping operations and dormant volcanoes are going to be put under stress. So if you're near a pumping operation in Oklahoma, let's say, well, I would dare say the western portion of Oklahoma is the spot to watch. It's not like it hasn't been hit before when there's large earthquakes. Every time we see large earthquakes on the West Coast, we see Oklahoma follow up in western Oklahoma with a nice size swarm. So word up to my viewers. There's now 770 people in here. Word's getting out around the world. This is the largest earthquake to strike in California, along the California border, I should say, in years. So it's been a while. And the people who live there are probably wondering, what's going on? Well, just take a look at it. The reason you're being struck is because of the additional pressure coming from off the coast that struck earlier today. And I knew it. I knew it when we talked about this earlier, and I said, look at that downgrade on that 4.3 off the coast. It really should have been a upper 5. That now makes sense. Something bigger hit off the coast, man, and they downgraded it to hide it. Now, ironically, the 4.3 that struck off the coast struck at a volcano. You want to see? You want to see it? Here, hold on. Hold on, let's go show you. Best for you to see it for yourself. So we have 2 sets of volcanoes, not just one, hit within hours of each other. So as we go zoom in on the location, this is how you do it. You see an earthquake that strikes, you got to grab those coordinates. Put them in on Google Earth. I recommend using Google Earth. It's got the best undersea imagery available that I've been able to find. Now I'm going to zoom in here and you're going to see a series of dormant volcanoes. And you'll see this is marked as the Parks East Blanco Depression. The EDP is a pull-apart basin within the Western Blanco Transform Fault Zone. And it consists of active hydrothermal mounds on the flanks of Pillow Lava Volcano. Never heard of it. Interesting. So, never heard of Pillow, but I have heard of that type of lava, but I've never heard of a volcano called that. But you can see these here. There's a series of small cones. So the small cones, each one is a volcano. Like here's a better example with a shadow on it. So you can see it a little better. So cone there, these are all cones, 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 all the way over to the fracture zone. And so it's a volcanic field that's being hit out there, and then a volcano on the coast, interior in California, is hit. They're related. So I'm going to go ahead and save this now as a video on my channel. The other video I just did when the earthquake struck is saving or saved on my channel. Feel free to share those. I'll be back in 15 more minutes at 4 a.m. Central Time to do another update. Please, guys, please share the information. Okay? Share my live stream. I'm going to be back on in 15 minutes. When I come back on in 15 minutes, that'll be the time where we then run down all the earthquakes again. Take a look at it, Rebecca. I'm looking at it right now. Here's our 6.0. There's our 6.0. You know what? Let's go check and see what the other agencies around the world are showing for the earthquake. Let's go see what the Russians are saying it is. You guys want to see what the Russians are saying? I don't even know if they'll have the earthquake, but let's go see. Let's go see what the Russians say. Will it even load? That'd be funny if it won't load. Well, come on, guys. Das Vidanya. Очень хорошо. Is good, no? Come on. All right, well, they're not going to allow that to load all of a sudden. Isn't that very interesting? Well, now we have a 5.3 that just popped on the map there. Which one is that? Is that from the Russians? Sure is. Russians are reporting. Okay, the Russians are reporting a 5.3. That's it. A single 5.3 reported by the Russians. Let's see if the Germans have it. Okay, Germans, Geophone has it at 5.6, 5.5, and a 5.4. Let's go see what the Europeans only have, not counting the USGS. Oh, a 6.7? What? What? No, that can't be right. No, I grabbed the wrong, oh, God, that scared the shit out of me. Oh, I've been up too long. Okay, I'm putting my glasses back on. Okay, so let's take a look at what the Europeans have to say. Okay, this is what the Europeans say. All right, hold on. Europeans say 5.5, 5.6, 5.6. And the USGS, Let's go back to the only USGS feed. They have it at 5.6 now. A single 5.7 and a 5.6. Okay. So there's our station. Yeah, no, guys. That lets you know how far behind you're lagging if you see this right now. It's not a 6.7. If it's a false alarm. False alarm. I was looking at the wrong feed. I was looking at the last month's worth of earthquakes. Seeing the results in chat. Everybody's like, what? Oh. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. It was an honest mistake. I clicked on the last here, which one did I click on? I clicked on the EMSC last 50 earthquakes 6.0 plus. So that showed us like the last 3 months worth of earthquakes, okay? Oh, all right. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll see you guys about 4 to 4:05 a.m. Just count on me coming back around 4 a.m. I'm going to take another break. I'm going to make some coffee. There's no way I'm going to bed. I'm going to stay up all night. It's going to be another all-nighter. I'm going to be all sweating, and that's how it goes. For my people in California, guys, here it is, man. Go time. All your earthquake preps just came into play. Did you run around screaming earthquake? Did you? Did you run around screaming earthquake? Earthquake! Or did you go for cover? Which was it? I want you to be prepared, and I don't want you to be scared. If you're in the Midwest, I don't want you to be scared either. I want you to take a look at the earthquakes that are happening out to your west, if you're in the Midwest, and understand that it's going to be coming your way. And this includes me. So, look, I already have my plans. I have my bug out bag. I know what to do when an earthquake strikes. And if it hits, which it should, in the Midwest, if it hits in my neighborhood, I'll be ready. You should be ready. So look around your house. Make sure that you have your shelves cleaned off. If you live in the prone zone, you already know. If you don't know, let me tell you. Pressure transfers to the east by southeast from the west coast. Well, what's southeast from this earthquake? Let's turn down the rings so you can see a little better. What's southeast from this earthquake? I mean, you see it. What's east from this earthquake? You see that. You see the red line that goes through the middle of the area? Following the red line across Oklahoma, the interior to Oklahoma, that should be hit. And it should be hit, and it should be large. Either a large swarm or a single large release, equal to what's striking out west right now. I hope everybody gets the word out to the people in California. We issued the warnings a couple days ahead of time. So there was a 2-day warning for the 5.7 to 5.8 to strike. We put the warnings out in hopes that the people in California would get them in time. They're over on my YouTube channel for the whole world to review. And I don't take it lightly. I take it very serious. When we get above mid-range 5, certainly it's big enough to cause movement. And I mean surface movement, not just some shaking, but some serious activity. It's big enough. So, enough to knock down a chimney, enough to take the facade off a house, enough to knock things off shelves, cause cracks in drywalls, damage to roadways, damage to the foundation of your house. We saw a 4.5 at the start of this year actually take off chimneys and knock down the fronts of houses in Oklahoma. Boy, look at me. I got the stress brow going on right now because it is stressful when I start to think about my viewers who live there and the damage that could be caused to your houses. You won't know until the morning. I mean, you'll be able to get out with a flashlight and look now, but at this point, I would say it's prudent just to be on watch for the potential to go larger, but the chances of it going larger at this point are minimal. You're seeing it fan out in a swarm at this point. So take a look at a nice stack of 2s and 3s going on now. And we're seeing earthquakes progress. Oh, look. Oh, guys. Oh, no. Look. The earthquakes are now spanning out. The earthquakes are spanning out along the lateral fault zones. Look at this. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this happen in real time. It's spanning out over about 400 miles, 300 to 400 miles, and it's going to the nuclear operations. As I'm talking about right now, look at this. Here, let me turn off the rings Look at this. Look at the earthquakes that just struck in the past few minutes. Let's get the coordinates. You need to see this. Okay, now this location is a former nuclear test site. And this is intriguing because the pressure is now following fault zones out from the original earthquake location. It's only taking, what, an hour for this to happen? Wow. Okay, wait till you see this. I've shown this spot before due to past earthquakes striking nearby here. Now, it's on the flanks of a thing called Black's Butte Volcanic Field. Okay, you see this volcanic field here. It's obvious. The basalt, the cinder, okay? But it's on the edge of a very large nuclear test site. And let me go ahead and turn on the Google Earth community to show that to you, okay? Now, this is fractured, and now we're not talking about them doing nuke tests right now or anything of the sort. The nuclear tests are done in past nuclear tests, not now. Past nuclear tests are done. And it causes blast craters in the crust. And these locations, somewhat hard to identify. You can zoom in and find if I had my place marks properly turned on right now. Of course, I was going to show it to you, and now my place marks aren't coming up. Okay, there's another way to do this. Okay, here we go. So here's an example. Okay, as we zoom in, you guys are going to see Skull Mountain volcanic buttes. You're going to see here are our craters. And this is just one zone of many. It goes up to the north. Every single one of these craters is a former nuclear test site. And we have the military names associated with each one. So Operation Portmanteau, U.S. Nuke Par, U.S. Nuke Colomiers. Okay, so just different names for all of these tests. And this isn't the only spot. This is just the one that the Google Earth community has marked. Now, when we go back and we look at the earthquake location, it's definitely close enough. It's next to, again, a few other volcanic buttes, and I would dare say that there's a relation between the volcanoes being hit and the earthquakes spreading out over to the east, reaching out towards our nuclear test sites. So just be aware that this is not staying localized. It's already moving to the east by southeast. It's pretty obvious. The most recent earthquake is in green. The earthquake before that was the 2.2. The earthquake before that, 2.3, 2.8, 2.7. All of these striking within the past few minutes. Look. Okay? So, that being said, it's spreading to the east by southeast. Look where it's going towards. If it keeps going in that direction, following that trajectory, and keeps going to the east by southeast, that's going to bring us right into the edge of the craton. If it keeps going across that way. That is absolutely... Oh, you didn't see it. Oh, my God. You didn't see it? All right, let's show it to you again. Okay, our earthquake location at Black's Mountain, Black Cone, okay, Black Cone Volcano. Take a look at it. I mean, Crater Flats, Black Cone, pretty much stands out, okay? Those are the volcanoes nearby. But then you get over here, and you've got the Raysond and Skull Mountain. Sandwiched in between those are our craters. And the craters are what I was just talking about, but now you can see them on the screen. It's excessive how many there are. They did so many underground nuclear tests here. And what I believe's happened is because they did these tests, they also built the famous city above ground where they put the mannequins and the houses and blew the town away and recorded it on video. Okay, you guys have all seen that famous footage of the cars getting blown away in the houses. Well, that was done here as well. So, one of the towns that they did that in the 1950s. So, these volcanoes right next to the nuclear test sites, I believe there's fracturing that's occurred from the previous nuclear tests, and that has since caused earthquakes to be vulnerable at these locations to strike. Okay? So, if you're tuned in just now, the largest earthquakes in the Intermountain California West have hit in the past several years, takes the cake for earthquake size. So we're looking at 5.7, 5.8, multiple 5.0, 5.5, 5.3s striking, and now swarms of 2s, 3s, and 4s. The good sign is the swarms of the 2s, 3s, and 4s is a sign that the pressure is rapidly expending itself before it can build up into a larger earthquake. The only thing that is troubling me is that it's spreading out so quick. Normally it would take a few days to reach over to the east, but it's doing it in a matter of minutes, meaning it's tremendous pressure. Tremendous pressure right now. Okay, so for people who are in here, I'm going to break off now. It's 4 o'clock. I'm going to save this as a video on my channel. I'm going to be back at 4:15 now, since I just talked for an additional 15 minutes. This is what I do. This is why I do what I do, and I love it. I don't love the fact that earthquakes are striking people that I know out in California, but I am captivated by seismic activity. That's all I do every day. So to see this happen in the time frame warned, with the magnitude expected, we warned for a 5.7. A 5.7 hits California. What more can we say? The warning was issued 3 to 4 days in advance. So the people had a 3 to 4 day warning. And that's huge. Okay? So I'll be back in a few. Hang tight. Get the word out. If you want to, share the stream. Tell them I'll be back on in about 15 minutes.